1,000 Allied soldiers, 89 tanks, and 600 vehicles crossed the Ludendorff Bridge. For the first time in the war, the Allies had breached the Rhine, Hitler's fabled line of last resistance, not with pontoon bridges or airborne drops, but over an intact functioning structure seized and held under fire. Field Marshal Walter Model, shocked by the failure to recapture or destroy the bridge, declared the situation untenable. Within hours of the battle's end, German engineers were ordered to redouble efforts to destroy the span from a distance. Luftwaffe dive bombers, artillery, and even manned explosive charges were thrown at the Ludendorff over the following days. Nothing worked. The defenders, what remained of them, were pulled back to medical stations and debriefing tents. Some would return to the line days later, patched up and silent. Others were evacuated home, their wounds too grave to continue fighting. They weren't celebrated immediately. There were no parades, no awards. For many, the bridge became a memory too raw to share. The trauma of what they'd witnessed, the sounds of bullets tearing steel, the cries of the dying echoing down the iron trusses, followed them long after the Rhine was behind them. But their stand had tipped the war's momentum. Military. Historians would later identify the capture of the Ludendorff Bridge as one of the key accelerants to Germany's collapse. General Eisenhower himself reportedly said, "The bridge is worth its weight in gold." It had allowed the Allies to establish a bridgehead east of the Rhine weeks ahead of schedule, throwing German defensive plans into chaos. For Hitler, the news was catastrophic. Furious, he dismissed several commanders and blamed the failure on sabotage and cowardice. Orders went out to execute officers who failed to prevent the loss. The German command structure began to crack from within, all because of one bridge and 12 men who refused to run. In the days that followed, German high command threw everything they had at the Ludendorff Bridge. They launched 11 aerial attacks, dropped V-2 rockets, fired precision artillery, and even floated frogmen with underwater explosives in desperate attempts to destroy the span. Nothing worked. The Americans had installed flak guns, reinforced the deck, and built temporary pontoon bridges alongside it. But the cost was growing. The bridge, never designed for this volume of traffic, had been severely weakened by German bombardment and American overuse. Every truck that crossed shook its structure. Every artillery impact loosened bolts and twisted the supports. Then, on March 17, 1945, at 3 p.m., the inevitable happened, with no enemy in sight. The Ludendorff